The DCEU is a mixed bag to say the least. It can be good and bad, and with Aquaman coming out and hoping to turn the tide of the reputation of this universe, it's time to rank all 6 of the DCEU movies from worst to best, so let's not waste any more time and get into it. Coming in number 6 is Suicide Squad. This film is just bad. The taste of this movie just keeps getting worse as I think about it. The movie looks awful for a superhero blockbuster. The acting is good for some of the cast members like Margot Robbie and Will Smith, but some fall flat on their faces, like Jared Leto's Joker. The CGI is way too overused, the plot feels forced and drags as the film progresses, the stakes don't feel real since it's just another end-of-the-world plot. Some of the members are pushed aside so other characters can get more screen time, and it's apparent that the film tries to copy Guardians of the Galaxy by inserting pop songs randomly. Or calling me an MCU fanboy, remember that James Gunn is currently writing the sequel to this movie, so this proves that DC really was trying to copy Marvel in this movie. There is some fun here and there, but it's a mess overall and one that I haven't watched since theaters. Coming in number 5 is Justice League. This film was once one of my favorite installments in the series, but thinking about it and rewatching it, it's not good. I don't hate it, and I could rewatch this easier than some of the other movies on this list, but this is the most inconsistent film of the DCEU, even more so than Suicide Squad. The film feels like a course correction for this universe, and it doesn't match up with any other film in this universe. The reshot scenes are so apparent considering that they inserted it in with scenes in the first trailer, like Batman meeting the Flash. It's also too short. Warner Bros., the geniuses that they are, mandated a 2-hour or less runtime. It shows that a lot of the film was cut because it feels like there was no weight to the story. It's mainly just a bunch of the team interacting, which sometimes works, and the action. It makes the film more rewatchable because there's not a lot to it, but that undermines the threat and the stakes. Steppenwolf is one of the worst villains I've seen out of any superhero blockbuster movie. He has no charisma, no threat. He's just a big CGI villain for the Justice League to fight. Speaking of CGI, Superman's lip is now a joke, but it still looks bad and distracting. He also feels rushed, but at the end he's good. But his resurrection doesn't feel earned. The group members themselves are kind of mixed also. Batman is goofy and nothing like the Batman we saw in BVS. Flash is slightly better, but not super interesting. Aquaman and Cyborg are boring, but Superman and Wonder Woman are good. It also had too many characters that didn't need to be there, like Commissioner Gordon, Lois Lane, Superman's mom, Cyborg's dad, etc. It's not a good movie, it's a mangled together mess, but it's a fun enough time if you want to watch something in the background. Coming in number 4 is Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. This is also a mess, with a lot of problems. The film doesn't look that good, the dialogue isn't good, it's way too long, and the villains are terrible. But on the contrary, Batman and Superman are actually good characters. They set up Batman as this ruthless guy and kind of works. And Superman has to take on the aftermath of Man of Steel, and in the extended cut, you see him trying to do good and try to do some detective work. Wonder Woman's introduction to this universe is really good, and made me excited for a film. The score is good, and the fight between Batman and Superman is good, but ends with that infamous Martha scene. But then we get the warehouse scene, which is one of my favorite scenes in this series so far. Even though I might rewatch this less than Justice League, the thing that makes this movie better than Justice League is that it has one clear vision. Coming in number 3 is Man of Steel. The first one in the DCEU is a decent one in my opinion. The film tries to give a different take on Superman. It has good moments of that. Henry Cavill's good in the role, Michael Shannon's a good Zod, even though he can be goofy at times. The rest of the acting is good, and I like the relationship between Lois Lane and Superman, and the soundtrack was good, even though it didn't fit the movie sometimes, and the ending was strong. What holds this film back is the Pa Kent stuff doesn't work. Whether he was saying he maybe should have let the kids die to protect his son's identity, or how he just fades into the tornado, the film looks way too grainy. Some characters need more development, and the elephant in the room is that the final battle in Metropolis is just too long, and Superman was way too destructive and should have tried to save people, or at least get Zod out of the city. But it's a decent film overall, and maybe in 100 years we'll get that Man of Steel sequel. Coming in number 2 is Wonder Woman. Coming off BVS, I was excited to see Wonder Woman again in the DCEU, and her first feature film was the DCU's first big success. The film is really good. The best thing about this movie is the relationship between Gal Gadot and Chris Pine. Their chemistry was really fun and engaging. The action was shot well for the most part. The film's emotional moments worked well, especially that scene in the town when it was snowing. The comedy worked well. It's overall a fun adventure. What holds this film back from being great is that some of the side characters were pointless, and the villain in the third act is just awful. A complete mess that copies the problems of the previous DCEU films, in that it just becomes a light show with operatic music and overdramatic moments. The film would be number 1 if the third act was better, but coming up at number 1 is Aquaman. The film is the most recent DCEU movie, and the best in my opinion. Coming off Justice League, where he was my least favorite League member, and the poor marketing, I was not excited for this movie at all. I was expecting it to be bad, but what I got was a massive surprise and shows why you shouldn't judge a movie by its marketing. This film was a blast. Great action scenes, good character development, good acting across the board, interesting characters, and a menacing villain, rich histories that is explored, and a fun adventure. And by the end, I was actually caring for Aquaman, a character that I haven't liked up until this movie. James Wan's directing is great and shows once again how good of a director he can be given the right script. The film embraces its absurdity. Unlike Man of Steel or BBS, it knows it's a goofy concept and has fun with it. The only things holding back this movie from being great is that it's too long, some of the comedy doesn't work, the soundtrack is bad, and doesn't fit. There's some plot points that are very similar to Black Panther that can be distracting at times, but overall, I enjoyed this movie, and I can't wait for the sequel. So that's my list. What's yours? Comment down below because I would love to hear your thoughts, and also make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. I'm Comic Book Movie Frame Productions, signing out.